So today I would like to speak about what a youth group brings to its members. I did a lot of talking to some people that I've met from other CUC churches, from a couple of cons, and talked a little bit with some of our own members, and we find that they all say the same thing, which is that youth group brings just a very close group knit of friends that can all share the same beliefs. We don't find a lot of people in our schools that share the way we think, and just being able to share a common goal or a common view is very helpful. I know a lot of the seniors that are leaving us have brought a lot. I'm not going to get all teary-eyed on you, Sean. Well, not only the seniors that are leaving us from this youth group, but this year I went to Septicon, which was our regional Pacific Northwest youth meeting, and I met 200 people there, all of which became very good friends of mine, and about 50 of which are all leaving. So I know nobody else got to go to that meeting from this church, but hopefully they will go to the fall meeting. And once you start going to the cons, you lose not only the members of your own congregation, but the regional ones as well. So there's a lot to gain, but there's also a lot that you eventually have to let go of, but it's all right.
I'm honored to get a chance to talk. This is a youth service, and I wasn't sure there was going to be room for adult voices. I assured them I had something to say, so thanks, guys, for letting me talk. As we all know who've been adolescents, those of us who have been, and those of you who are going to be, growing up is a tough act. This frightening and exhilarating passage of adolescence is so like the daring young man or woman on the flying trapeze. Besides requiring considerable skill to successfully do what you're expected to do, that person needs confidence in themselves and trust in others. Then there's the safety net to catch her or him if he falls, if they fail, and the expectant crowd has to encourage them to try again, in spite of disappointment, because that's what you're meant to do, for yourself and for everyone else. Growing up is a tough act. Adolescence is a time for searching for a new and personal sense of wholeness and meaning to life, an independent identity that builds upon what is very different from childhood. This goes to the very core of what we are and become as human beings, a profoundly religious endeavor, like it or not. Some of our youth are averse to the word religion. An adolescent consciously decides how he or she will relate to the world and in what way they will, and where they will put their trust. The nature of the world our children are growing up in has changed radically in ways we must consider when we relate to these transitioning youth. In some ways, people who are many generations older, it's hard to understand what they face right now. Some things never change, but many things have changed. Between the threat of nuclear annihilation, the computer-driven rapid change and expansion of knowledge, trends away from family and community-based security, and all of this in a struggling economy, it can be a challenge to find solid footing as an emerging adult. Which is why when I came on board as a youth advisor in 2008, I found it impossible to accept the status quo at that time to simply hang out together. Let's be safe and hang out together. Sean can tell you, I wasn't okay with that. I took the charge seriously to support the youth group in developing within themselves the guidelines to help them deal with all the change and inconsistencies they're beginning to encounter. I had to facilitate their own becoming, and that requires intention. You know that Crosby, Stills and Nash song? You who are on the road must find a code that you can live by. Well, I'm not going to sing the whole song. You understand the core of it. We had to get there. To find that code, you have to intentionally seek a code, or at least set up the possibility, improve the odds that a code can be found. We owed it to the youth to create routine opportunities to discuss their values and beliefs with others who are at the same place along the road. These fine young folks are beginning to sort out what it means to be a man or a woman and the implications that has for their relationships. They're asking, what are the expectations of society in my life? Will I conform? Not. I'm guessing. Who am I in the midst of everyone telling me who I should be? Some of our richest discussion time touches on this issue of identity formation. I'm honored to be there as a resource and trusted adult. As the future looms large, our high school youth face that time-honored question, what do I want to be when I grow up? One of the most rewarding aspects of being an advisor is getting to question relentlessly, some might call it haranguing, listening to and observing and reflecting back to them a realistic assessment of skills, abilities, and interests over time, because they're changing. Throughout the youth group, every one of these finding people change rapidly, as you know as parents, and if you're paying attention as other adults, you'll see they are changing mightily. As a Unitarian Universalist religious educator, I'm called to do whatever I can to develop in our young people an enduring sense of self-worth. From that, I think all else follows. It will inform our strategies and actions and determine our goals and objectives in life. To use some jargon there that you can encounter at school all the time. Yes, we are in the business of helping people develop a faith to live by, a faith that encompasses an attitude of hope, trust, and love. Such a faith is virtually impossible unless we feel ourselves to be worthy participants in the enterprise of living and a valued part of the whole of existence. A sense of worth, not guilt, is what allows us to act responsibly on behalf of ourselves, others, and the world. The failure to achieve this sense of worth results in alienation, hopelessness, and an incapacity to act in a life-affirming way, just muddling through a meaningless existence. Helping our young people value themselves as unique and wonderful beings, we adults rediscover ourselves again and again. The rewards of this work are endless. I give back every bit as much as I give. Of the countless hours I've spent with Sean since first meeting him in 1999, I must say that the very best have been in youth group. He can tell you that I've been pushing his buttons and challenging his choices on a pretty regular basis. We got stories. And when Sean wanted the youth group to be what it could no longer be, when a youth who had made the youth group moved on, as happens, we worked together to create a new format and feel in our gatherings. It was not easy. Bearing witness to his becoming a fine young man, I can vouch for his caring heart, keen sense of humor and fair play, and his commitment to expressing his life and gifting ours through his music. Thank you, Sean. Though I've known Cass for only a short time, a flash, just a few months, my appreciation runs deep. She embodies the spirit of transition. Cass has been a lively protagonist since arriving. She questions, she pushes, she illustrates, she articulates, and she dreams out loud for all of us to catch a glimpse of possibility. That's copyright. Cass has shared her journey and engaged us all in imagining beyond what was obvious. Thank you, Cass. These two fine and young adults will definitely be missed from the group, and a wondrous addition to the larger congregation and world as they make their way forward. They need our love, our trust, a glimpse of our true humanity in all its imperfection. They need to feel that the work they're doing in the world is valuable and contributes to society. They also need to know our vision. They need to know what we're working toward, and they need to develop their own vision if their life is to ultimately have meaning. It has been said that one generation owes the next the strength by which it can come to face ultimate concerns in its own way. If a young person came up to you and said, "What vision do you have for your life?" what would you say? Remember, we can be more than entertaining. We can make a difference.
let's just say, well, thanks a lot, Jenny. Yeah, pushing me through high school, that's been quite a journey. You know, I couldn't really made it without friends. I really think that life is sort of pointless without it. I've just been happy that I could connect with all these people this year. I feel like I'm good friends with every single one of the people sitting over there, and I will deeply miss them, hanging out with them every Sunday next year. It's just, well, yeah. You know, friends are always there when you need something, support, and you always have to try and be there for them. It's sometimes hard being someone's friend. They can really piss you off sometimes, but hey, we've been through that. We've been through some things with this youth group oh well. So, this one time, I'll tell you about this one time. This one time is quite something, It shows how friendships can, have bumps in them, speed bumps, literal bumps, maybe. So, I've been hanging out with my buddy Alex right before and overnight. We've been hanging out like all day. And so, I was getting sort of annoyed at him. Let's just, we keep going and we keep going. And he was being a little annoying. And what got me, it was probably complete accident, I know. He went and backhanded me in the face. He was trying to get my hat off, but he backhanded me in the face. So instead of doing the correct thing and being cool about it, I went and I socked my friend Alex right in the face. He had a big welt right here the rest of the night. Yeah, coming back from that, we're all cool now. We resolved everything that night, but, I guess you have to realize your limits with friends, as well as, being around them is cool, but when you can't stand them anymore, you gotta know when to back down. I guess my reputation at this church more, though, is of someone who plays really raucous music all the time. So, music has always been a part of my life. Maybe not the raucous stuff. Like, when I was a little kid, my parents started me out on I think when I was in my mother, we were listening to Loose Ties or whatever, they went to concerts. But, we always started, I listened to a lot of classical music when I was a kid. Now, I don't listen to classical music anymore, but that's, I don't mind it. We listen to Raffi, some like Dwight Yoakam and stuff like that. And then I started, especially when Maida came, Maida got this radio for one of her birthdays. I remember this thing because this was top of the line, it was this little box and it had a speaker in it. It was AM, FM, and a tape player. Yeah. And so we got that thing, and Maida found the oldies station. Oh yeah, like oldies, like 50s. And so I started getting into that stuff. And then within a couple of years, I found like classic rock. And I'd already been exposed to some of that stuff, Eric Clapton, The Clash. My dad had this great mixtape. I still got it around somewhere that we always listened to on trips. And it had, like The Police and all these cool bands on it. And so I got more and more into rock. And my mom hated it because I would play it really loud. I'm sorry, Mom. But it's always been a defining factor in my life. I feel that I would be probably a very bland person without music. That it's just a huge part of who I am. All my memories have music set to them. Expressing myself through music is always the way to go. I'm not good at giving speeches. speeches like this. I much prefer being up there playing my guitar. I was gonna rap something for you, but I forgot to put the backing track on my iPod. So, I guess I can't. I don't know about that one. No, but it's always entertaining. I used to be very biased in my music, though. I'm now very tolerant of everything. So I used to hate rap. I used to hate heavy metal. Imagine that. I used to hate like anything that was like played on 97 Rock. I don't believe it. I hated that station. I don't know how. But you know, it's over the years I've just taken in more and more and realized the musical value of all these different types of music. Now I know a lot of people think certain types of music aren't really music, but some people don't actually do their research. For instance, you know, rap music, it's not really, the dude is not really that talented. I mean, speaking fast, sure, that's cool, but it's not like singing or anything. It's not quite as talented, but the people who make the beat behind the rap music are insanely talented. They have to know how to produce everything and make it sound good together. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just ranting. But, alright. And so, yeah, I'm not very good at changing subjects. So let's say here, after being with this youth group, I'm really happy I could have the experience. I guess this bonfire I'm going to is probably the last major thing I'll be hanging with all of these guys for. And so, you know, I guess someone else is going to have to step up to the plate of being a little energy in the group. Because I know people have energy, but some people don't show it quite as much. I've noticed. I know Alex has a lot of energy. But like in group discussions, people this year have really come out and said stuff. But in the past, in my middle 2 years of high school, it was so boring. I was the only one to talk. You remember that, Bethany? Oh, that's right, she was asleep. But yeah, so I hope that I will continue attending church. Maybe not as often as I do now. I won't show up every Sunday. Probably show up for Craig's services. Yeah, right there. But I really, you know, I'm gonna miss all these people. I love you guys. That's about all I have to say.
Hello. I came somewhat prepared. I've got 3 pages, but I don't really want to go over these read. So, as Jenny said, I haven't really been here as long as the other kids. I came in a few months ago, so most of you probably don't know me that well. But my name is Cass. I'm going to be turning 18 here in a few days. My birthday's on Thursday. I'm very excited. And so for the bridging ceremony, I thought I would share with you a bit about who I am, what I'm up to, and what I'm currently thinking I'll do next. So at the moment, I'm at the tail end of my bachelor's degree. I'm in the middle of my last year on it, and I'm getting it in world religions. I'm also a teacher of mythology and creative writing at an online high school, and I've been doing that for 2 years now. So I've been very busy, but not so much doing the good stuff. In addition to teaching, I also design courses. So at the moment, I'm working with a handful of people at the school to develop a program in world religions. And this church has been really, really useful when it comes to that. Earlier this year, I changed my major from educational technologies to world religions. And as a result, I've been pestering various members of this congregation for details from the various faiths or contact information from people who might be able to tell me more. And the interfaith youth group that's been meeting twice a month interviews with leaders in the Muslim community, for example, or people from the Christian churches. And so it's been very useful. If you can pardon the term, it's been a major, major blessing. As for what's next, it changes by the day. So today I'm thinking of pursuing a career in creative writing and public speaking, which is something else this church is helping me get started in, but more of that in July. I'm also looking at places to go for my master's degree, preferably to get it in religion and philosophy. So if any of you have any suggestions, please. Currently, as in today, I am thinking of going to Harrison-Middleton University, which is going to be at a distance. So that way I can continue to be here or be in the mountains or be wherever and still continue my studies. And everyone already said already nice about each other. So I'm going to go and try and tie this back to the beginning of the service. Just say everything that they said, think of that because everyone's awesome. They've been really helpful. So before I joined the church and the youth group, I was very reserved about what I believed personally and expressing my own views. I was open to hearing about what other people had to say. But when it came to my part of the conversation, making it two-way beyond asking them, oh really, well what about this? When it came to sharing what I believed, I was very reserved about that. Because I didn't want to say that I didn't believe in anything, but I didn't really want to say what I believed in either. And we're going to have an interfaith potluck coming up here soon, which we're going to talk about what our beliefs are and actually open up that discussion, so you should all go to that. But after joining the church and actually meeting some people who are very open to the discussion, who, if you express something other than what they believe in, they weren't going to try to convert you like the troll under the bridge. It was refreshing, and so it took some time, but now I'm at the point where I could have a conversation with someone and talk about my end, and so I'm really grateful for that because that was kind of a big deal to me, so I'm happy about that. So at the beginning, we asked you the question, what is a credo? And the questions are there on the bridge. You should be thinking about them, think. And this is something that we as the youth group, we've been working on this for quite some time now. I don't know if we started at the very beginning of the school year, but probably around there is when we started asking questions, starting the discussion. And so it's not something you decide in a day, let alone in an hour, and it's something that we're still working on, we'll probably continue to be working on. But I don't have a solid idea of what mine is yet, but I do have an idea. I know that I like finding the patterns between the various faiths and religions, and mythologies and cultures and stories. I like seeing the underlying themes and then showing them and pointing them out to others. So taking two completely unrelated and seemingly incompatible belief systems and then showing them how they're basically believing in the same thing, just two different interpretations of this one thing. And so my goal in life is to use these similarities and commonalities and underlying themes and use these to promote greater understanding of each other. And so for me, that is something that I hope will, and that I think will continue to be with me throughout my life. As I continue to grow and also as my situation in life continues to change along with me. So this is something that I hope will survive through all of life's challenges and hardships. Thank you for letting me share with you.
Seen Sean grow from a tiny kid to a pretty tall kid. Way taller than my family. Way taller. Yes. And having known Pastor just a short time, that gifts cannot represent the value that we have for you. And words can't really express it either. But I'm going to recite part of a poem that meant something to me. job now is basically to let go. Because this is for you, and it has meaning, I think, for people leaving childhood as well as their parents. It's by Khalil Gibran. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. And I hope that all of your dreams come true, and I hope that you enjoy the flight as arrows crossing the bridge. Small time.
We haven't really started anything with this youth group, although on the other hand, you're always starting something with youth. So, what went before was incredible energy, and we only know a fraction of the energy that preceded us in the Tri-Cities as far as youth go. But I can speak directly to the youth who, my son was one of them, and Rob, and Erica, and Ben, and Sean Garrett, and their related friends who would come, and they hung out quite a bit. And we can remember, if we think back, to the music blaring from the youth room. It came right into the sanctuary in our old place. And they cranked it up. And so we thought maybe just a nod to our ancestors, which is a good part of worship, to play a song by Eric Idle. Just listen and enjoy. It's just a fraction. Our youth knew the words to all Monty Python. And it was their scripture, their holy text, if you will. So here's a song to remember.
So how do I cope with this shattering news? Well, philosophy. As fast as it can go, at the speed of light, you know, 12 million miles a minute, and that's the fastest speed there is. So remember when
We're going to do a little sing-along. Some of you will remember this song, Three Little Birds, a reggae song written by Bob Marley's mom and Taj Mahal. So it's a song that originates in Jamaica, the bigger islands in the Caribbean, and she used to sing to Bob all the time, before he was born and after. And so he practiced singing all the time. And he's probably the best known reggae star ever. So, tribute to Bob. Join in.
And you should have the words and insert, and we'll have a little musical interlude in the middle, but let's just have fun. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smiled at the rising sun. Three little birds sitting by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, Three little birds sitting by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies of pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright.
Now comes the challenge of making a circle.